Alright, what is going on? So I managed to do the master version of the Lightblade solo. Flawless, of course. As you can see, Attrition is on with lightning crystals. Cute arc burn. So it's actually a pretty challenging version of the Lightblade, even for master. And I tried soloing the Grandmaster just for a few minutes to get the feel of it. I've never soloed a Grandmaster before. So I figured I wanted to see if doing this on Master with Attrition and Arc Burn and Lightning Crystals. And now, yes, Lightning Crystals gives you insane ability spam, but you take more damage from Arc with acute Arc Burn on, so you can get melted pretty darn quick with lightning crystals on. And so I had to modify my loadout a little bit to accommodate that. But I wanted to see if I could do this on master with the with all the void or arc damage that I'll be taking. As well as attrition for, no healing. I'm not on Warlock with a well or Rift. I'm on Titan. The only way I can heal myself is by picking up Wells of Life from attrition. They're like those white, they look like elemental wells on the ground. Or because I'm using Knockout, I can heal myself by punching. So yeah, I figured if I could beat this on Master with all these modifiers, I think there's a good chance that I can beat this on Grandmaster. The only real issue is going to be the swamp. Unless I cheese it, but I'm stubborn and I don't like using cheeses unless it's not like it's not a game-breaking cheese. Like, I like to play the missions that in a way that they were intended to be played. So I've seen that you can go way back into the fluorescent canal of Savathun's throne world from here, and you can get on your Sparrow after you're finished this encounter. You can get on your Sparrow, come through here, you can put your Sparrow on the boat and traverse all the way to the swamp with your Sparrow, and then just Sparrow straight through the swamp. Which the swamp is, in my opinion, it's the biggest challenge in this whole Nightfall. I know a lot of people talk about the boss fight, but the boss is pretty predictable. Like, as long as you're going around in circles, moving all the time, and if you know where the spawns are, it's actually not that hard to beat the boss. Like, Glassway is way harder boss encounter than Alak-Hul. But yeah, so I wanted to challenge myself and be able to do the swamp. So this was actually a little bit too easy with lightning crystals, because there's definitely no need to cheese it. You could just do your thruster dodge and throw your storm grenades like non-stop and basically kill all the Screeb. It is still pretty easy to die though, because the moths, your storm nades don't take out the moths. Your super, like if 3 moths hit you even while you have your super active, the moths will kill you. So the only real thing you gotta watch out for with lightning crystals in the swamp is the moths. You can totally destroy all the Screebs. You got radar on. I think radar is off on Grandmaster, but on Master it's easier because you got radar on. So at least you know where the Screebs are spawning, and you can throw a nade in advance and take them out pretty easily. But yeah, so doing it on Grandmaster, I think that's going to be a challenge, unless of course doing a cheese or going Invis Hunter and I don't really want to go in for this hunter because I don't know. It almost feels easy too. You're not really playing the swamp. You're just going through it. And I get it. It's not a cheese. It's part of how the hunter is designed, and it's definitely a really good class. But I don't want to rely on that. I want to challenge myself to be able to do it on different subclasses, different classes. And you might have seen on my channel my previous solo flawless on this was with Solar Titan, and the way I got through the swamp that way is I pretty much always pop my super while going through the swamp at least once, like midway or towards the end. I usually pop my super if I start getting overwhelmed, but with Solar Titan it was fairly easy because
why did we stop?
Because of Sol Invictus and sunspots. So I was just throwing my fusion nades, throwing my hammer. I popped my super and was able to make sunspots everywhere. So I was basically able to light the whole swamp on fire, so that when the Screebs were running at me, they would blow up in my sunspots. Then now I'm doing this on Arc Titan, and I've made it through a few times before in the past, just by thruster dodge, thunder crash. You can thunder crash like halfway through the swamp. You can't go all the way though, so don't get that in your mind that you can, oh, I'm just gonna super through the whole swamp. You can't. You'll fall way short, and you'll still end up getting run over by Screeb and moths. So you can use it tactically if you need to, but it's not going to get you through 100%. So I was actually making really good time up to this point, at least for me. Yeah, I'm not even using match games on. I don't have a solar weapon, but storm grenades will pretty much take out the wizards, and there's only a few wizards in the whole Nightfall, so you don't have to stress yourself out too much with having to use like Arbalist or adaptive munitions or a solar weapon. You can overwhelm them with storm grenades. And I'm also using Hothead with explosive light. Although I didn't make as many orbs as I planned on because I have Harmonic Siphon on, but like 90% of my kills were with storm grenades, so I didn't end up getting very many multi-kills to proc Harmonic Siphon on Risk Runner. I think the only time I really made an effort was on the boat. Normally, like just past this point here, where all the thralls start coming at you on the boat. I don't know if they're thrall, whatever they are. But yeah, it's kind of fun just to throw a storm grenade or jolt them, and then they all just like disintegrate. But they're easy to kill, so I figured, well, that's my opportunity to make some orbs and get explosive light going on Hothead. That way I had it ready for the boss fight. I don't even feel like I needed any kind of heavy at all. I almost considered using a sword, but that's it right there. It's mainly the Shriekers. You need something to take out the Shriekers quickly. And you can do it with your storm grenade, but if you don't land your storm grenade and you don't have very good cover, the Shrieker's just gonna annihilate you. And it does splash damage too. There's not that much cover in those bridge sections where you go through with the boat. So heavy definitely came in handy for the Shriekers, and also for the barrier knights in the boss fight. So I think there's about 6 barriers that you have to take out, 3 different waves. And the boss is basically spamming you the whole time while you're trying. So you're just looking for this opportunity to take out the barriers. So then when you finally do get an opportunity, you have to be super quick about taking them out. So I was saving up my super for that, and I figured rockets would be good there too if need be. Yeah, so here we go. The Screebs, I'm not too worried about Screebs because I'm just storminating them, jolting them. As long as the moths are out of the way. And if you don't know how the mechanic works with the light here, if you stand by the light, you're pervading darkness, which weighs you down like molasses. It'll go away. So right now you can see I'm at weight of darkness 5. When I go up to the lamp, it'll go back down to 0 if I stay there. See, it went back down to 4, but I didn't stay for very long because I was going to get overwhelmed by Screebs. So. Yeah, this looks easy to take out the Screebs, but you still have to be very fast. Like, you have to pay attention to your radar, you have to pay attention to your audio, and you have to make sure that your grenades are going to take them out in advance. There's nothing like, you can't just not pay attention or take them out last minute. You have to preeminently take out the Screebs. And then, yeah, usually as you approach these lamps, the moths are there too. The thruster dodge is actually clutch for that as well. If I was using towering barricade or rally, you know, I wouldn't have been able to dodge out of the way unless I had no pervading darkness. I can seismic strike out of there. But yeah, the thruster dodge is very good. Most of my videos and my runs before this, where I've done solo flawless on the weekly Witch Queen campaign missions and Nightfalls, and with lightning crystals, I tend to use towering barricade. On Void, I'll use rally barricade because you get an overshield, so it's not a big deal. Solar, you can just use a rally barricade because I'm using Lorelei, so I get a sunspot. There's ways to heal yourself on solar. On Titan, it's not as efficient to heal yourself. Like I said, with knockout, you can use a charged melee, punch, heal yourself by killing red bar ads. But what if there's no ads nearby for you to kill? So yeah, I tend to use towering barricade more often on Striker, but thruster dodge, like I said, it came in handy going through the swamp, avoiding the Screebs and the moths, and also for the boss fight, because this boss fight is totally unlike Glassway in the sense, Glassway you can stick around in that one room there on the left and basically just watch the choke points, and as long as you know where the enemies are coming from, you can stay in that room the whole time. It's not like I did it on Warlock and I was standing in a rift the whole game, like I wasn't mobile. And it's a hard boss fight, but this is a hard boss fight as well, but the difference is that you cannot stay still, because like it's a big circular room. Alak-Hul is fast. If he gets like within 10 meters of you have to move quickly, like if you don't have seismic strike or thruster dodge, or Icarus dash or invis, like he'll be on you before you know it, you're dead. Not to mention he's spamming you with his arc grenade launcher or whatever it is that he spams from his hands the whole time, and you're being chased by ads and champions, so yeah, but mainly the boss. So you gotta move. You have to go in circles the whole time, especially when the ads are up. The only time where you're not really moving as much is when all the ads and champions are down and you're just ticking away at the boss's health bar to make him immune. So when he's by himself with no ads, you can play hopscotch with him, like between the middle platform and then one of the platforms on the outer perimeter. You just bounce back and forth. You'll see how I do it. But yeah, but even there, you still need to be mobile. So it's not like your barricade is pretty much useless. So yeah, this was a good opportunity to use thruster dodge. Not to mention that that I'm using bomber on my class item, so every time I dodge, I get grenade energy. Or actually, I think I might have taken bomber off. Normally, I do use bomber though. But with lightning crystals, you don't really need any mods on your armor to increase your ability regen. Like a lot of times, I use the grenade, that grenade mod that you put on your the void one that you put on your arm piece, so that when you do damage with a grenade, it regens your class ability. And then I would put bomber on my class, so that when I use my class, I regen grenade. So it's kind of like a synergistic cycle back and forth. Whenever you damage with a grenade, you get your class ability. Whenever you use your class ability, you get your grenade. So that's how I would normally do it if lightning crystal isn't a modifier. But yeah, I made some tweaks here and there, and I realized, well, there's almost no difference. If you could just take them off with lightning crystals. You probably don't even have to run 100 discipline to get your grenade back super fast. Heart of Inmost Light is also doing most of that work too, I think. Which is the exotic chest piece I'm using, which is what most Titans are using, it seems like. But yeah, so every time you use your class ability, your other abilities regen faster, and they're empowered, so they do more damage. So yeah, so they kind of work like those two mods that synergize that I just mentioned. But anyway, so here we go. So now I'm just, there's no champions out yet. There's always the exploder thralls down on the ground there, so I don't go down there very much. Actually, the only times I do go down there is by accident. I don't think I do once in this run. But yeah, if there's no champions or yellow bars up, he'll go into this cycle with you where you just jump. You can literally just jump back and forth between the middle platform, the outer circle, play hopscotch with him, throw a storm grenade, jump over. Like basically, he's in midair the whole time, so he's not damaging you. Although every now and then he'll do like an unpredictable jump where he won't jump down and then jump up. He'll just jump straight across, and then sometimes he'll just stay put on the one platform, and he decides to spam you with his arc projectiles. So it's not 100% reliable that you can just jump back and forth with him. But yeah, so I'm paying attention. Most of the bosses in this game seem to work that once you take out about half of their health bar, or half of a third of their health bar, so a sixth. It's basically they have 3 phases of damage that you do to them, and they go immune between each phase, so they have 2 phases of immunity. But when you're halfway through one of those phases, it tends to be a trigger for adds to spawn. So on the first wave, I don't think any ads spawned at all, other than the ones that spawned right at the beginning. On this phase, however, so as soon as he goes immune, you saw there's the two yellow bar knights with the arc shields, and there's a light bearer acolyte. Or it's not an acolyte, but whatever, it's a light bearer. So once you take them out, then the barrier spawns. Yeah, I still don't really know when exactly the spawns are, but I generally pay attention to the boss's health, and once one of his phases is about halfway down, I'm on the lookout for a spawn of ads. So you just can't stick around. Like, it's tempting with barriers to just stand your ground and wait for them to shield and stun them and then do your damage, and then you're like, instinctually you don't want them to put their bubble back up and regen their health, but you have to avoid that instinct, because the more important instinct here is that if you stay still for like more than 5 seconds anywhere, even if you're max distance away from the boss, he'll close the gap and you'll be dead, or he'll just spam you with the projectiles. So it's like, I'm always taking these barriers out while I'm on the move, and if I can't take them out, well, I can't take them out. Just wait for another opportunity to do so. See, I got a direct hit there, and I'm using Risk Runner too, so Risk Runner obviously reduces your arc damage when you take arc damage. It gives you arc damage resistance. I mean, you're not invincible, obviously, but yeah, it does reduce it quite a lot. I'm not sure what the numbers are. Also, I'm using the double arc and solar resist mods on my chest piece. I got 100 resilience, and I'm using Striking Light. Prior to this, I did some runs with Well of Tenacity, but Well of Tenacity is like a 3-second buff of damage resistance, and you need to avoid Well to proc it. So with Striking Light, as long as you're charged with light, then you have damage resistance while you're sprinting. So I think Striking Light is probably one of the best combat mod choices for this boss fight, because you're sprinting the whole time. You're always on the move. So here, like, I thought I was probably gonna die at this point, and with Attrition on, so like I had no way to regen my health quickly. Like, it takes quite a while. It's actually not as bad as Togetherness. Doing Togetherness solo is, not only does it take quite a bit longer for your health to start to regen, it feels like it takes forever, but you don't have Wells of Life to pick up either. So Attrition is hard, but I don't think it's as hard as doing as Togetherness solo, because Togetherness is designed to as a modifier designed with teammates in mind. Like, yeah, you don't recover your health as quickly unless you're standing next to your allies. So doing it solo is like, well, it's kind of like what the game doesn't want you to do that. But either way, they're both pretty tough. So, but I think Striking Light probably saved me quite a few times. Like I said, I did this run several times before this, and there was times, like just in the first opening encounter, where I got melted immediately, like just blindsided by arc blasts. So I think Striking Light, Risk Runner, obviously as much arc resistance as you can put on your mods, and 100 resilience. I think that's a good damage resist build for Titan, for Striker at least. And also, so how I'm getting charged with light, well, I'm using Elemental Ordnance, so every time all my grenade kills spawn elemental wells. I'm using elemental charge, so when I pick up the wells, I get charged with light. And I'm also creating orbs with Harmonic Siphon, and there's tons of orbs here if you need them in this boss fight, like all around on the ground. Every time he goes immune in the middle, a bunch of orbs spawn. So picking up orbs also charged me with light, and getting powered melee kills while I'm charged with light from striking light spawns another orb. So it consumes your stack of charge with light when you get a melee kill, but it spawns an orb at the same time. So, and then the orb is making me charge with light again. But for whatever reason, I'm not charged with light right now, so either way, I'm being careful here. So there's the light bearer always spawns with the 2 yellow bar arc shielded knights. They're easy to take out, and then I take out the light bearer last, and then you get a set of anti-barrier knights and spawn. And sometimes it can be kind of tough to try and find the opportunity to take out the barriers. But basically, once you have max distance from the boss, and you have an angle on the barrier, it's a good time to get a nade on him, and then be ready to break his shield as soon as he pops it. And then when he does, if you're lucky, you can get off a rocket, super, or another nade and some weapon damage. So this is in the last damage phase right now, and he's not halfway through this last damage phase. So I know that there's going to be at least 2 more barriers that spawn with a bunch of ads. So I'm ticking away at him, waiting for that spawn to happen. And it is possible, like, you can kill him before, there it is, there's the spawn. So it's tempting to just kind of like go all out when his health is this low. You think you almost got him, but you really still got to play careful. Like, I almost killed myself right there. I thought that might have been the end of me. But fortunately, there was that bad nade almost killed me. But there was a red bar ad there for me to do a knockout punch on him and regen my health. And I got lucky with that barrier there. Did not have to wait too long for the opportunity. So they do like to jump on this middle platform. See, the boss doesn't have an angle on me there. I'm gonna stun him. Move, stun him. Anyways, got him down. So this is pretty much the home stretch here. The music gets more intense as you get towards the end here, but he doesn't seem to get enraged. Like, some of the bosses get enraged when their health gets super low, and they'll come at you with like this whole new approach, but he doesn't really. The music gets intense, but he just keeps doing the same thing. Spam his projectiles, and then hop back and forth. But there you go. So I was pretty proud of that. I did it in pretty good time, 28:05. I'm sure I can probably do better, but I think I might be able to do a Grandmaster if I can figure out a way to get through the swamp without cheesing it. If you enjoyed, let me know what you think. I'll see you in the next one.